Welcome back to the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games. I'm Chase Ingham alongside 2009 CrossFit Games champ Tanya Wagner, and it is now the women's turn to take on event number 10 for the sprint chipper. Coming into this morning, your overall standing, Samantha Briggs still on top of the leaderboard by a comfortable 40-point lead, but we're not sure how she's going to handle this sprint, followed by Alessandra Pacelli and Valerie Voberl tied up with Christy Phillips. The event we got this morning, the sprint chipper, we saw the men go. It was fast-paced and high octane.
We're still going to see very fast pace with the 21 med ball GHD sit-ups. The 15 snatches, these ladies are going to plow right through them, but I believe it's going to be the wall where this event is going to be won or lost. This wall is a 6-foot wall that the women will have to do 9 burpees where their chest, stomach, and thighs hit the floor, hit the ground, and then they have to jump over that 6-foot wall. We saw a burpee wall event back in 2010, but this wall is a whole foot taller.
As the women of Heat 1 come out, let's throw it down to Roy McKernan down on the field of play.
Thanks, guys. I was just backstage with these female athletes, and it's actually kind of a light vibe back there. The women in this heat, not too concerned. I don't think they're in contention for the podium, but they're really, really looking to show these guys what they can do. None of them sounded concerned about the weight per se, but these women all pretty short in this heat. Tanya, like you said, I'm interested to see what happens when they do get to the wall. Up and over it, they said they haven't had a chance to practice it yet, so we'll see how it goes down.
Thanks, Troy. In our starting lineup for heat number 1, event 10, the sprint chipper, we have the 43rd through 31st place females in this first heat of 3. We had 43 when we showed up this morning. We're cutting down to 30 after this event. So these are your bottom ladies trying to buy up. Watching it, heat 2 and 3 have come.
And like Rose said, there's a light feel in the air. These ladies aren't necessarily on that bubble. They want to go out here and give it their one last chance. Here's Gretchen Kittelberger. She is a surprise that she's in this bottom heat. She is only one of 2 athletes that are veteran CrossFit Games athletes, the other being Kristen Clever, who has that injury. But Gretchen Kittelberger, this weight should be nothing for her. It's 100 pounds in the snatch. She's one of our shorter athletes, along with at 5'2", along with Kristen Clever, 5'2", but these girls don't seem to let their height ever be an issue here at the games. We also have in this heat, we have Amanda Goodman, who is the shortest competitor here as an individual, standing at 5 foot. She's going to be in lane 12 for you as well.
As the ladies get set, we're about to have heat 1 underway, the sprint chipper for event number 10. Starting off with 21 GHD med ball sit-ups. The weight of the medicine ball is 14 pounds. They have to reach back, make contact with the floor, and come all the way up and touch the pad in front of them.
As taxing as GHD sit-ups are, it is really only 21, and they only are going through it one time. So really, they're not going to feel the full effects as they do in training. Typically, we see high-volume GHD sit-ups as they're programmed at their own workouts back in their own gyms.
Amanda Goodman takes the early lead. You spoke to her that she's a very strong and explosive athlete. With such a short sprint event, we're looking to see those fast and strong athletes. And Amanda Goodman, along with Kristen Clever, Michelle Crawford, now goes to the field making their way 15 snatches at a weight of 100 pounds.
Now, we saw snatches at the weight of 100 pounds in 13.1, the open event, and the women had to move up in weight. This was the 3rd weight they saw, and every one of these women ripped through this 100-pound weight. Kristen Clever actually was our world winner. She got through 30 snatches at 100 pounds and even moved on to get 21 at 120. So this weight is not heavy for Kristen, but you are seeing the women break them up. It's a strategy so they can move faster.
There's a cluster at the top right now between Amanda Goodman in lane 12 on the left and the 2010 Games champ Kristen Clever. Once they're done here, they're going to make their way over up to the 6-foot wall. They have to execute 1 burpee and then complete a navigation over the top of that wall. And it seems like the first female off the snatches and to the wall is Kristen Clever. And listen to the sound of this crowd as they bring her up to the wall. She's followed closely by Amanda Goodman. Now we're going to see how How is that ankle as far as jumping back up on this wall?
And that's going to be the issue right here. She has a 2-inch advantage on Goodman. However, we know Chris is good at jumping. It's going to be that jumping off of 1 foot. We're going to see how good she's at.
Amanda Goodman and Kristen Clever, your top 2 athletes in this heat. Heat number 1, vying for a spot of the top 30. They're going head-to-head right now, but Kristen Clever slowly starting to pull away.
You can see both athletes are starting to use their feet on the wall, actually climbing up the wall with their toes to get a little more grip. I think it's a smart move. It saves their arms. You want to save their shoulders as much as possible going down the burpees so you can get right back off the rim.
Kristen Clever, 5 reps in. Amanda Goodman, 4. Hendrickson is closing in. Kittelberger, so the reps are here. They're only going to 9. Kristen has 2 more reps to go. She's going to go over and back, and then we need a sprint to the finish.
Notice how Kristen, once she gets her shoulders and her chest up on the top of the wall, she rolls right over and throws her legs. It looks like Goodman's still trying to climb all the way up and over. She's using a little more energy, getting that foot up and over.
Kristen Clever, the 2010 CrossFit Games champion, finishes in first place in this heat at an unofficial time of 3:02. Now Amanda Goodman and Gretchen Kittelberger are going to race to the finish, and it's going to be neck and neck. Thank goodness we have timing chips here. The scoring system has really advanced since the first CrossFit Games, and it seems Gretchen Kittelberger finishing just ahead of Amanda Goodman by 0.3 of a second. We spoke earlier, our top 2 veterans in this heat, Clever and Kittelberger, really showed that composure and confidence in this first heat.
Absolutely, it was that knowing that this is their last chance here. If they don't pull it out right now, they could be done and they could be going home after this.
We're getting close to the 4-minute mark. There is a 5-minute time cap. We saw a few men even struggle to get under that. So we'll have to see how these females handle it. There are just a few reps left, so we don't see anyone being in danger. And now we got to start to look at, wow, look at Kristen's thumb.
Looks like Kristen caught one of her nails there on the wall going over, but she's still smiling. That's the smile we're used to seeing from Kristen.
So we started with 43. We had our 43rd through 31st athletes in this first heat. We have 2 more heats to go. Our bubble athletes were there in the middle. Pitt Malone, Michelle Crawford, and Tiffany Hendrickson.
For the other women, there's Chris Clever drawing a blood smile on her name. For the other women who did not have a chance to practice that wall, this heat had to give them some hopes with these shorter athletes doing so well.
Your top 3 from this event, Kristen Clever, Kittelberger, and Goodman. But it was all Kristen Clever from the start. She came out strong and never looked back.
She was the first one off the GHD sit-ups. Nice and strong, real fast, held onto the bar. For her first few, stayed strong.
So she
And
got
looks like
that
she's
pinch
climbed.
on that wall.
She's climbed the wall before and sprinted to the end, even on a sprained ankle.
Kristen Clever, your overall winner for heat number 1. The time to beat set so far at 3:02.3. That's actually the 4th best time we've seen on the day, men included. Very impressive. Gretchen Kittelberger in 2nd and Amanda Goodman in 3rd. So your top 2 veterans, Kristen and Gretchen. But we have 2 more heats. Your top 30s are waiting in the wings and ready to compete to see who will be moving on to the final event tonight.
Welcome back to the soccer stadium at the StubHub Center in Carson, California for our continuing live coverage of the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games. I'm Sean Woodland alongside Tanya Wagner. We're set for the second of 3 heats here in the 10th of 12 scored events for the women, the sprint chipper. 3 movements for these ladies, 21 glute ham developer sit-ups with a med ball, 15 snatches, and then 9 wall burpees.
And we saw that there was the snatches at 100 pounds that really these women were able to move quickly through a lot faster than we saw the men with their 165 pounds. And it's really the wall right now for the women, how fast they can learn the wall if they've never jumped over a wall. Rory told us earlier that the women did not have a chance to practice, and with 9 reps, Sean, that's not a lot of time to practice and get that movement down before you're done.
The starting grid for the second of 3 heats. The field will get cut down to 30 after this event. Many of these women are right on the edge, and lane number 8 is Elizabeth Akinwale. She's currently in 17th place overall, and she's an athlete who's trying to work her way into the top 10.
She is now. Here's the thing. We just saw Chris Clever, who we spoke about. She was took first place in the world in 13.1 with the snatch burpee event in the open. Elizabeth Akinwale placed 60th in the world in that event. We know she can move heavy weight, so if that's any indication, she may be in trouble here at the snatches, but it's a fast enough, short enough event. If she stays as fast as she was in the beginning part of last night, she should be just fine.
In lane 11 is Danielle Horan. She has jumped over walls before, but when she did it, she was on the back of the horse. She was a competitive equestrian jumper before turning to CrossFit.
With some of these new rookies, they just want to get to this final day. They all got here, but now it's just fun. Do everything, leave it all out here, and get to the end if you can.
The second of 3 heats is underway. Kristen Clever, the 2010 CrossFit Games champion, currently has the time to beat at 3:02.3 seconds. 100 points goes to the winner in the standings. Second place gets 95, third gets 90, and then so on from there as you move down the standings. And every point now important for these women as they are trying to avoid the cut. Cassie Lance at lane 15 is the woman who currently occupies 30th place, so she is safe now, but she cannot lose any ground to anybody.
And she has those times to beat from the first heat, where Kristen Clever put up a nice fast time along with Gretchen Kittelberger.
Right now it's Elizabeth Akinwale who is the first done with her 21 glute ham developer sit-ups, and now to a weight that she should be able to handle very easily.
I would guess we're going to see a few women straight set, and I believe Akinwale can do it. I know she can on a fresh day. It is day 3 though. But that would give her a huge advantage to get to that wall if she can hold on to this bar.
Akinwale in the all red in the middle of your screen, and lane 8 is now through 7 reps and has yet to put the bar down. She needs to get through 15 of these, and then she'll move on to the wall where it's 9 burpees and then jump over the wall and then a sprint to the finish line. She's trying to chase down Kristen Clever, the time to beat in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Clever put that up in the first heat. Now Elizabeth Akinwale looking like she may go unbroken on these snatches.
The first athlete, even out of the men, to hold on to the bar for all 15.
Akinwale onto the bar. In lane 11, Danielle Horan, and in lane 13, it's Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet on the wall with Akinwale as well. Elizabeth Akinwale is the first one over, but now Horan and LeBlanc-Bazinet are right behind her, and now Katrine Davidsdottir in lane number 6 is on the wall, as is Deborah Kortner-Carson in lane 4, and here comes Cassidy Lance in lane 15 in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen in the yellow top.
Akinwale with only 50 seconds on that set of snatches.
Now Akinwale and Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet are tied. This one could come down to that sprint to the finish line. LeBlanc-Bazinet is now slightly ahead of Akinwale as the 2 trade first place back and forth.
You can see
now LeBlanc-Bazinet over the wall.
Camille's pulling herself over though, Sean. She has to pull so much harder to get her leg up there and get over that wall.
Akinwale is trying to catch up with LeBlanc-Bazinet, who is done, and here comes Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet. and she will beat Kristen Clever's time. LeBlanc-Bazinet, 2:41.4. Akinwale now coming across the finish line. She will finish second in the heat. Elizabeth Akinwale also second overall now, 2:51.2 seconds. Now the race for third. Deborah Cordner-Carson coming across the finish line in lane 4. Caroline Franklin in lane 7, she is across. Katrine Davidsdottir in lane 6, she is now across the finish line. Danielle Horan in lane 11, more and more athletes finishing up now. Erin Light in lane 3, Cassidy Lance in lane 15, the woman who sat on the cut line in 30th place, needs to score some points here. Cassidy Lance currently tied for 10th overall after 2 heats. Now Margot Alvarez is in, Jennifer Smith. The 5-minute time cap on this event has not been a problem so far. We have 3 athletes left on the field. Lindy Wall in lane 14, Emily Friedman, and now Natalie McLean in lane 2 coming across the finish line. Emily Friedman is done in lane 5, so Lindy Wall, the only woman left on the field. Wall out of the Central East region.
And you know what, Sean, those GHD sit-ups had to wreak havoc on her back. That is why she's the only athlete we see wearing a weight belt or a belt there for her back.
Wall across the finish line, and that's going to close out the second of 3 heats here. Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, she is your new leader. 2 minutes, 41.4 seconds, and giving the camera a smile, and she has to be very pleased with that result. We'll have to see if it holds on. One more heat to go. Elizabeth Akinwale was second, and Deborah Cordner-Carson was in third, and those are also your top 3 women now in this event. Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet did not beat Akinwale off the barbell, but once she got to the wall, that's where she took the lead.
And you know, it wasn't even a height issue for Camille. She stands 5 inches shorter than Akinwale, but she was able to jump and pull herself over quicker over this wall.
LeBlanc-Bazinet making quick work of that obstacle and getting herself across the finish line in the time of 2:41.4 seconds. And she is currently your leader with 1 heat to go. Elizabeth Akinwale finishing in second, and it's Deborah Cordner-Carson finishing in 3rd place. Cutting down to 30 after this. These women tried to score points to keep themselves alive. The women who are fighting for the lead are coming up next. Can Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet hang on? We'll find out next. Back at the StubHub Center in Carson, California for our continuing live coverage of the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games. I'm Sean Woodland alongside 2009 CrossFit Games champion Tanya Wagner. The third and final heat of event 10, the 10th of 12 scored events getting set. Overall standings after 3 days of competition, and it's Samantha Briggs on top of the leaderboard, followed closely by Alessandra Pacelli. And then look at the battle for third. Voboril and Phillips both tied, but Voboril gets third because she has a higher finish in this competition than Christy Phillips. She won last night's event known as 2007. Today's event, the Sprint Chipper. 3 movements, 21 med ball glute ham developer sit-ups, 15 snatches, and then 9 wall burpees.
We see these 3 movements typically in training and put together in a nice sprint fashion right here. The women are ripping through all three movements, not having a problem. This is going to be our fastest heat yet, and there's a lot of pressure here. We have the top girls here, but the top 5 right there, when you're close to the podium, there's only 2 events left. For those girls, they want to stay as close as they can because there's only 2 more events after this to make up any ground.
The lane assignments for the third and final heat here. Valerie Voboril in lane 7 currently sits in 3rd place. In lane 10, Christy Phillips, she occupies 4th. They are tied in the amount of points that they have, so all Phillips needs to do to overtake Voboril is just finish ahead of her.
And you better believe they're going to be watching each other in this event. Going into the evening's event, it's going to be really important for you to be as high as you can. If Christy can take a first place here, that would be huge.
Valerie Voboril won the throwback event last night known as 2007. It was her first victory of the competition. Put herself in 3rd place, tied points with Christy Phillips, but by virtue of a tiebreak, she currently sits all alone in 3rd. Now, Sam Briggs, the overall leader. She sits in 1st place. She's been the most consistent athlete so far. She doesn't necessarily need to win this event, just finish ahead of the people she's trying to stay ahead of.
All right, here goes
21 glute ham developer sit-ups with that med ball. The time to beat belongs to Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet. 241.4. The winner gets 100 points in the standings. 2nd place gets 95, 3rd gets 90, and so on and so forth as you move down the standings. We cut to 30 after this. None of these women are in danger of missing out on the final 2 events, but a lot of them are trying to chase down Samantha Briggs.
There's not a lot of strategy in this event because it's so short. Really, you need to move as fast as you can. If there's one place, though, that you can have strategy, it's in the snatching. You saw Elizabeth Akinwale last heat able to go as fast as she can, get there, and made up some time to get to the wall.
And here we go, just about every athlete to the barbell platform at the same time. Now 15 snatches at 100 pounds. And right now it's Alessandra Pacelli in lane 9 who got there just ahead of the rest of the field with about a 1 to 2 rep lead on most of the other competitors. Now it's Michelle Letendre. Jen Jones is up there. Stacy Tovar and Rory Zambard in lane 9. That's Alessandra Pacelli. She currently sits in 2nd place. The barbell is down. Next to her in the yellow is Samantha Briggs. The woman who currently sits in 2nd. It's Michelle Letendre in the lead. And this one's going to come down to the wall, it looks like.
A lot of girls are starting to drop now, but they are all feeling the pressure from each other side by side. You want to pick up that bar quickly. Jen
Jones in lane 5 is the first to the wall. Lindsay Valenzuela is there. Here comes Samantha Briggs and Rory Zambard. Michelle Letendre is there. Sam Briggs, she's getting to work on her set of 9 burpee wall climbs. The time to beat is 241.4. Jen Jones currently leads this heat. Sam Briggs just trying to hold off Pacelli, Voboril, and Phillips and hang on to that top spot heading into the final 2 events. Jen Jones is your leader. She's through 5 now. Sam Briggs through 4. Talena Fortunato now challenging for the top spot. Rory Zambard is up there.
You can
We're
see
past the 2-minute mark.
Jen Jones just uses her feet also. She's a tall athlete, able to get herself up over that wall quickly by using her foot to kind of plant and drive herself off of.
Jen Jones hanging on to the lead and looking for a win here in event 10, the sprint chipper, the 10 to 12 scored events. Jen Jones over for the last time and the sprint to the finish, but it's going to be Sam Briggs looking like she may have beat out Jen Jones. That is huge for Sam Briggs. Sam Briggs by 0.3 of a second gets the victory and gets 100 points as more and more athletes finishing now. Fortunato's in, Sam Bard and Lindsay Valenzuela all in as well.
Incredible. The workout does not end. The event is not over until you cross that line, and that is making differences for these athletes and their placements.
Alessandra Pacelli just finished. Michelle Latondra, Ruth Anderson-Horrell. Here comes Val Vobro, Kalina Ladaris, and Becca Voigt all coming in. Just a couple of ladies left on the field. Christy Phillips, who sat in 4th place, is going to lose ground to Valerie Vobro, who finished ahead of her. And now Anna Tunnicliffe, the only woman left on the field. Christy Phillips at one point was in 1st place. Valerie Vobro got herself into the top 3 last night, and Samantha Briggs gets 100 points for winning this event. And now she has a stranglehold on the top spot of the leaderboard. Briggs in 1st, followed by Jen Jones. That was a sprint to the finish, and Talena Fortunato less than 6 seconds behind them.
We know that Sam Briggs can go the distance. She proved it on that rowing event earlier on Wednesday, and now she proves she can sprint as well. This is her only other 1st place finish than she's had since that row event, those 2 row events.
Valerie Vobro came into this event in 3rd place. Next to her is Michelle Kinney out of the Central East region. Vobro, the full-time 4th grade school teacher whose children were here yesterday, for students to watch her. And Sam Briggs in 1st place, pretty solid in those snatches, and then kept pace with Jen Jones on the wall.
She's able to throw her leg right over, roll her body over that wall.
And then the sprint to the finish. Jen Jones fell down there trying to dive across the finish line. Great effort for her, but it just wasn't enough to hold off Sam Briggs, who picks up yet another victory here at the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games. Jen Jones is 2nd. Talena Fortunato is 3rd. Amanda Krenz is with the event winner and overall leader.
Thanks, Sean. Sam, that was a sprint to the finish. Did you know how close it was going to be?
I could hear Miranda commentating, so I knew Jen Jones was only about 1 rep in front of me on the burpee wall overs. So I was just trying to jump as much as I could and just try and catch her if I could do. So I managed to get her on, I think, the last climb over, I think.
You've got 1 more workout. Where are you at mentally right now?
Oh, so relieved. It's nearly over. It's been quite a tough weekend. I'm physically feeling very drained and tired, so I'll be glad to get the final one. I know that the adrenaline will get me through the final one, so as long as I don't make any mistakes, hopefully I'll still be on one of those podium spots.
Sam, thanks so much. Great job. Sean?
Thanks, Amanda. Samantha Briggs currently sits on top of the leaderboard as she gets 100 points and $3,000 for winning that event. And look at this. Lindsay Valenzuela, her training partner, has now moved into 3rd place past Valerie Vobro, but it's still close. Vobro is right there and still in contention, as is Jen Jones, and Christy Phillips still in the mix as well. The sprint chipper is down. Valerie Vobro trying to work her way back in the top 3 and catch that woman, Samantha Briggs. More live coverage later in the day for the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games.